morning, everyone. We are doing a medieval theme today on how they might make a turkey back then in the medieval days. I've done some research and I'm going to show you how they might have cleaned it, how they may have prepared it with the spices that they used back then in those days. So I hope you join me in my little adventure here in my medieval turkey. So we're going to start with cleaning the turkey, which I'm sure was the same process back then as it is here. You just make sure you want to clean it all, take out all of the neck and the gizzards. But that would have probably been set aside in a bowl for the stew. Stew is a big item to make back then. So I'm going to get started. So I'm just washing the turkey down. Okay, I have the neck. And the gizzards part, all that good stuff. I think we've washed it pretty well here. Okay. We are going to now put that in the big roasting pan. We're actually going to be smoking our turkey kind of like they did back in the medieval days, although they would have a fire with coals, probably in a big fireplace, and they would probably put this in a Dutch oven over those coals. So we're going to try the same thing with smoking it. So we're going to go ahead and smoke that. And back then they used very simple spices. Actually, cinnamon was a big spice. Nutmeg, they used dried lemon, dried pepper seed, and so that's what we're going to spice our turkey up with this morning. And we'll also be baking it along with some vegetables that they used back then. They had celery, carrots, potatoes, garlic. They didn't have a lot of utensils to cut vegetables with, so they were baked or boiled in stews whole or cracked in half. So we're going to get started on that. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to start with the cinnamon. They really didn't have butter back then. They had some lard that they could use, but they also used bacon for flavoring, which I'll grab some of that out of the refrigerator and put that on as well. But I'm going to start with the cinnamon, the ginger, the nutmeg. We have some dried lemon and some pepper seeds. So I'm just going to rub the turkey with all of this here. I don't know that they would have necessarily stuffed the turkey. They may have used some berries and such. Fruit was also a big item back then, but they were not into wasting any type of food. So the probably would have baked the vegetables along with the turkey, and then made their famous stews and porridge or pottage. It was big back then. I'm just rubbing this in really well so it all gets seasoned up here. I also learned in my research that the reason you've always seen the knights and the lords with the legs is because the dark meat, with all its fatty flavoring, was considered the better part of the turkey or chicken or hens or whatever they had. The white meat being so lean and kind of dry was actually not the most popular part of the turkey back then. So here is the turkey all seasoned up. And what I'm going to do is place these vegetables around. But when we go to smoke them, the turkey will be just set on the smoker, which we'll show here later, right on the smoker grill, and the vegetables will be placed just as you see them here, and they'll basically be steamed. I will be putting some cloves in the cavity here of the turkey just to give it a little more flavoring. They did have garlic back then in the medieval days that they did use. You don't hear too much of onion, so they didn't use a lot of onion back then. So we're pretty much ready to go. Like I said, we're going to put this on the smoker, and this will take a good 6 hours to smoke. So we have a good 6 hours to smoke this, which is pretty indicative of what they would do back then in the medieval days. It would take all day to cook their meals. The women would make sure that they started early in the morning, and they would cook them all day, and they would eat. What I found very interesting is that the poorer of the people, the pagans, didn't have plates, so they would use stale bread and use that as a plate, slice it, use it as a plate, and put whatever meat they had on there, and they would then pour the juice over there, which that's what they would use as a plate. Of course, the lords and the knights had plates, they were served properly, but anyways, so you'll see some of that as well. So that's our preparing our turkey, and I'll see you when we come back. Thanks.
Ricky. Oh, wait.
What? Okay, we are back for our medieval turkey. We have smoked this all day long, about 6 hours. Now we are going to plate this like they did back in those days. We didn't have too many utensils. In fact, most of the carving was done by hand. Vegetables were also just cooked whole. They were not chopped up. They just were cooked right along with the turkey or whatever type of bird, pheasant, chicken, whatever type they used. So we are going to start. Okay, I'm going to take these out and plate them like they would plate them for a lord or someone of wealth. They would also serve this with bread. Bread was a big staple for the medieval ages. So here's the potatoes, some tomatoes, Since the dark meat was the most flavorful of all the parts, we're going to take those off and plate them up for the Lord. And we're just going to tear that right off of there. Since we cooked it so long, at a low temperature, it just comes right off the bone. It's just beautiful. I don't know if the cameraman can get up close at all, but it's a great piece of meat there. There's a lot of flavor in that. Again, we have seasoned this with cinnamon. They used lemon. Nutmeg was big back then. They have other spices. They even used saffron back then to spice up their meats. So that's what we seasoned it with. The white meat, which I happen to like, wasn't so in demand back then. They liked the dark, fatty meats that were flavored, all of that. But we can put a piece or two on there for the Lord. And the knights would stand by, protect the Lord's while he was eating this beautiful meal. So the Lords did appreciate their knights and would give them a nice piece of whatever meat they were cooking that night. So I do have a knight. His name is Rick. He's my son. And I'm going to give him one of these legs. So my knight Rick, come get your leg. Yay! Is it good? It's all right.
Great.
So anyways, that's kind of the wrap up of our medieval turkey. Like I said, they just tore it all apart and they ate things in whole pieces along with their bread. It was usually rye. Again, the patrons, the lower class, didn't have plates. They had to use bread as their plates, which we serve things a lot these days on bread. And they would gravy it up. They would eat what was on their plates and then finish the bread with all the gravy and goodness in it. So I don't know if that was such a bad thing. But they didn't have plates for the lower class. They had to use day-old bread for that. And so we just keep tearing this apart, and that's how you would serve the meat. So here's cheers to the medieval ages, and hope you enjoyed our little show. Till next time. We're eating our medieval dinner. Cheers, everyone!
That's a good stuff.
That's not so bad eating it this way. I wonder what that tomato tastes like. Or pushed up.
Mama Kim's cooking is the best.
Oh my gosh. I taste that. I didn't put anything on it. I just cooked it. Like they would cook it.
Oh wow.
Isn't that good?
It kind of almost tastes like yeah.
And that's cinnamon. Woo.
Strong.
Okay, honey. Can you turn it off?
Hmm?
Did you turn it off?
Yeah, it's all right.
Is it really off?